Welcome back. Our next guest is a seasoned media professional with over 20 years of media entertainment marketing experience. She's currently the Vice President of Brand Strategy at iHeartMedia, specializing in multicultural marketing partnerships. Her most recent post was as a senior member of the Warner Media Entertainment Content Partnerships team and serves as the New York City chair of the Black professionals at Warner Media Business Resource Group. And joining us now and sharing more details is that Vice President of Brand Strategy at iHeartMedia and DEI leader, Denise Bennett. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to talk to you today.
Yeah, and so when we talk about media, we talk about really diversity, and equity and inclusion. When it comes to media, certainly we can see there's that huge disparity that's there. But I know part of your job is also to help to bridge that gap too.
It is. Well, in terms of what I do, I'm focused on multicultural marketing, but in terms of DE&I, that's about the equity within this overall industry, within corporate America in general. And, I've been very fortunate to be able to have a 20-year career in the media industry, but it's not a secret to anyone that there is a lack of representation of Black professionals in general within some of the mid to senior level ranks within the entertainment industry. And, I am doing what I can to continue to be a resource to those coming behind me, to make sure that I'm creating spaces for more professionals of color to be in the overall entertainment industry.
Yeah, and for yourself, you said over 20 years of experience right there in media and marketing. What was the impetus for you to say, listen, I want to be involved in media?
So it's not as fancy as so many people that have these big epiphanies. I'm a kid of the 80s and 90s. And so when I was coming up in high school, I am a musician. At the time, I played 4 instruments in high school. And I had a wonderful music teacher, Christine Mitchell, who, when I was trying to figure out what I should major in, she was like, listen, find something that you like getting paid for and go find a way to do that. I mean, find something that you like to do and find a way to get paid for it. And I was like, well, I just like watching MTV all day. And she was like, there's people that get paid to do that. And so my parents and I, as a team, we decided on music business as a major. And so we looked at schools that had that as a major and landed on Indiana State University in Terre Haute, Indiana, because my future at the time professor, when I went to visit the school, James Slutz, he told me, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go work at MTV. And he said, if you come here, I'll get you there. And at the time, Indiana State University's music business program had a 100% job placement guarantee. So he was very much like, if you come here, like, we're getting you there because you're not gonna mess up my average. So for 4 years, that's all we did, was be very focused on getting into not just the entertainment industry, but getting into the specific company. I really wanted to work at MTV Networks. And he would send all our entire degree program to the National Association of Music Merchants Convention in Los Angeles every year. And our job was to learn the art of networking and relationship building with all of the companies that were there. And our goal was, you need to score your internship. We were required to do a 6-month internship to complete our degree study. And the first year that I got there, I met a wonderful mentor of mine, a mentor and friend still to this day. His name's Lauren Hammond, who was a representative of VH1 Save the Music. And, such a wonderful example of how we as Black people, and just we as an overall culture, look out for each other. This is a Black man who looked at me, a young Black college student with so much fire and energy to be in the industry and in his company. And he said, listen, you come back to me every year at this conference, and when you are ready, when you're in your senior year, we're going to make this happen. And we stayed in touch, and every year I did exactly what he said. I beelined to the Save the Music booth every year. And in my senior year, I moved to New York and started my internship at VH1 Save the Music, and the rest has been history.
Yeah. Talk to me about the value of internship, because so many times people just want that job and they want to go to the job. But as I was telling, a lot of people who want to work in this business, in this industry, I myself, I interned, and one of my first jobs was I was a intern at Madison Square Garden, and I interned at Madison Square Garden Network with Greg Gumbel. And
Mhm.
that led me on the path to really continuing my broadcasting career. But for interns who people who don't think that internship is valuable, just talk about the power of internship for a moment.
My gosh, it's so incredibly valuable when you are, especially when you're when you're interning in the overall industry or the company that you are so interested in. It gives you the pretty rare opportunity to be the biggest sponge possible. You get to ask all the stupid questions because you really don't know. You are essentially just a kid and you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to learn and you're trying to grow. So you get to just ask everybody for everything, and people do want to help you. Good people want to help you and see you grow, and they love seeing these kind of blank slates of future leaders. And so it gave me that chance to meet everybody up around and through the company, because I knew that that was a company that I wanted to remain in for, for at least a nice chunk of my career. And when done right, you are setting a foundation of relationships that you will be able to pour into, or, also bring value, give some value to when it does come that time to now start seeking actual employment. And, I interned in 2001. I started my internship in the summer of 2001, and I was rounding it out over September 11th. That was an extremely horrible time for our country, the
Mm-hmm.
city of New York, as well as from a corporate standpoint. I was terrified that, I'm never gonna be able to work because people are getting laid off left and right. It was a really hard time for the city and for a lot of corporations. But because I had laid that foundation, when it got to my internship was ending in November and December, I was like, I need to find a job. But I had already laid that foundation. So I was able to connect with all the right people within the company. And I was set up with a nice assistant role in the marketing department within Noggin in the Inn, which was a division of Nickelodeon, still within MTV Networks, now Viacom. So all those, being in internships gives you that opportunity to start building your overall learning and skill foundation, but also your relationship foundation, which is so essential. So I always tell the interns I have, listen, ask every single solitary question, but also the relationships that you make, both with your peers as well as the people that you make within the company. Make sure you are watering those plants while you're here, as well as when you leave, so that, keep yourself top of my mind
Right.
when you're ready to, when you're graduating and want me to, you're looking to me for an opportunity. Keep yourself top of my mind so that, I'm coming to get you.
Yeah, and relationships are key. I think when you talk about a pathway to success, having skill is good, having talent is good, being gifted is good, but the value of having positive relationships and maintaining those relationships. Because one thing that I'll let you talk about is that some of the same people that you see on the bottom are the ones that you see at the top, and some people that you see at the top, the bottom, the ladder works both ways.
Did your grandma tell you that?
Yeah.
Be careful how you do people, because same people you saw up, you gonna see them on the way down. And so it is very much about, I tend to shy away from using the word networking because people are so bad at it. And I try to, couch it in relationship building and making sure that you are making reciprocal relationships where you're bringing value to people and they bring value to you. And, seeing where, again, where people can bring value in so many different ways, but learning how to incorporate people into your life cycle for your greater progression. But Yeah, it's very much learning how to treat people, how to allow yourself to be treated. That was certainly a big lesson as I've continued to grow of, how you do teach people how to treat you, but you also learn how to treat other people because, those people that you know, stepped on your way up, all right, you're gonna pay for that on your way down. So be careful how you do people.
Yeah. And talk about, you've had a fulfilling career and it's been quite fulfilling as you talk about the relationships, the highs, the lows. But what are some of the biggest challenges that you want to probably share with people when they enter into this particular part of the industry?
Well, I think again, reciprocal relationships is a really important thing. So, not only just reciprocal, but uh multiple layer relationships. So don't just be focused on trying to get in front of the CEO of the company. Look to the side. Look to the side, look down, in terms of people that are coming up from behind you. Again, seek value in everybody that you meet. Everybody can have some value to you. So that's a huge one. And again, I think learning so much of learning your own values and whom you are, um, you start learning how to not stay places where you are not valued, learning how to say I'm better than this.
Mm-hmm.
I am okay, and I know that I expect more from myself and I value myself, so I'm not going to remain in places and spaces where abuse is happening, or places that are not open to change and growth. You start having a lot more freedom to say I'm gonna go to places where I'm valued. And that's something that you learn just in life. You don't stay in relationships where you're not valued. So, you try not to do it in your career choices as well. You're gonna spend a huge chunk of your life working. So try to identify what are those pleasure centers for you in terms of your career. And for some people it is money. Some people will do, they'll do jobs that they hate, but they pay a lot of money. And listen, we gotta all pay bills, so we all work for money. We have to survive. But when you start to look at, I mean, am I in places where I'm being respected? Am I valued? Am I stimulated? When those pleasure centers aren't necessarily being met and you haven't identified, in your current space where they can be met, then you need to start making some choices on what are some next moves that you could make, some strategic moves that you could make for your own progression that do tap into those pleasure centers for yourself.
Yeah. I want to tap into this for a few seconds before we wrap up. Integrated marketing. We hear that a lot in the business, but what does it mean? And talk about your work there.
So integrated marketing in general, and most of the roles that I've been in, you've seen that, most of us, I'm gonna date myself, when we used to have TiVos, like that's when TiVos used to start. We used to skip through commercials. That's 500 years ago. But that is something that has continued on in terms of all the different mediums that we consume, whether it's TV, cable, even some of our streaming opportunities, that traditional commercials are starting to go. They're not the only way to reach consumers. And so now brands are continuing to look for ways that they can engage with consumers in ways that are more authentic and organic to the content that they're consuming. And so you'll find, roles that I've had in TV and again, throughout all the mediums that I'm in, is identifying those solutions for those brands that can align their brand and the content that you're watching, that is completely seamless, doesn't take you out of the entertainment or sports or whatever content that you're consuming, but still relays those key brand messages or call to actions that brand wants you to do, while still keeping you entertained in the content that you're consuming. So that's the very, very short kind of description of what that means. And it takes a lot of listening and understanding with the brands, but also knowing my own audience. So when I'm thinking about when I was on the TV side, thinking about would I watch this if this brand showed up in the comedy show that I'm watching, if the actor that I'm watching, if they drank this brand or made a comment about this, is that going to be disruptive to me, or am I still into it? Okay, so if I always like to, think from the mind of the consumer. If the consumer would still be into it, then okay, then that's a viable solution. And if it would get the key performance indicators that the brand wants in terms of, is it going to drive brand recall or consideration, or most importantly, purchase, then those are key wins for a brand.
Well, Denise, been very fun talking to you, enlightening. Congratulations on your wonderful career, giving some much needed tips for success. And thank you for being with us here on the Social Justice Forums.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.